Continuing on page 4, we're still dealing with trapezoids. Number 31 is an isosceles trapezoid, and we're given opposite angles. In an isosceles trapezoid, opposite angles are supplementary. So 4x minus 7 plus 11x minus 8 is equal to 180. Combine like terms and you'll get 15x. Negative 7 and negative 8 is negative 15. Let's add that 15 to both sides, and we'll get 15x is equal to 195. Now divide both sides by 15, and you'll get x is equal to 13. Okay? Now we're looking for angle G. Now in an isosceles triangle, angle G and angle F are base angles, so they're congruent. So if I can find angle F, I can find angle G. So the measure of angle F is 11 times x, which we know to be 13, minus 8. 11 times 13 is going to give me 143, minus 8, which is 135. So that means the measure of angle F is 135 degrees. Because these two are base angles, that tells me that the measure of angle G is also 135 degrees. So on 32, we have WY, and again, this is an isosceles trapezoid because of the congruent sides. WY is 15x minus 2. That would be this diagonal. And XZ is 9x plus 10. We're looking for WY. Now, in an isosceles trapezoid, your diagonals are congruent. So I can take 15x minus 2 and set it equal to 9x plus 10. Subtract 9x from both sides, and you'll get 6x minus 2 equals 10. Add 2 to both sides to get 12. And divide by 6 to get x equals 2. Now, if x equals 2, and they're asking me to find WY, I know that WY is 15x minus 2. So x is now 2, so I'll have 30 minus 2, which is 28. So WY is 28. All right, so notice we have AD is divided into two congruent parts, so that means E is the midpoint. BC is divided into two congruent parts, so that means F is the midpoint. So that tells me that EF is the mid-segment. Now, in order to find a mid-segment, you have to take your two bases, add them together, and divide by 2, and that'll be the length of your mid-segment. So 5x plus 7 plus 8x minus 11 divided by 2 is equal to 63. Combine your like terms on the top. And let's solve for x by getting rid of the 2. Multiply both sides by 2, and you'll get 13x minus 4 is 126. Now add 4 to both sides to get 13x equals 130. So x is equal to 10. If we're trying to find AB, that's 5x, or 5 times 10, plus 7. Which will give you 57 units. Number 34, you have another mid-segment. You can tell that Y is the midpoint of QT and Z is the midpoint of RS. So I know that 2x plus 7 plus 19 divided by 2, so base plus base divided by 2, is equal to the mid-segment, 5x plus 1. Let's combine like terms in the numerator. 7 plus 19 is 26. Okay, now let's get rid of the 2. We're going to multiply both sides by 2. When you multiply the right side by 2, you need to put parentheses around your 5x plus 1 because you've got to multiply 2 to not only the 5x, but also the 1. So 5x times 2 is 10x, and 1 times 2 is 2. Let's subtract 2x from both sides. Subtract 2 from both sides and divide by 8, and we'll get x equals 3. So if we're going to find YZ, that's going to be our mid-segment. YZ is equal to 5 times X, which is 3, plus 1. So we get 16 units long. And that's going to lead us to our kite. Okay, so with our kite, we have the following properties. 2 pairs of consecutive congruent sides. The short is congruent to the short and the long is congruent to the long. Okay, we know the opposite angles are congruent and our diagonals are perpendicular. So number 35, we do have a kite. It tells us that LMN is equal to 36 degrees. Okay, now if this whole thing is 36 degrees, right here, this diagonal is going to bisect those angles. So that'll be 18 degrees and 18 degrees. We know that our diagonals are perpendicular, so everything here in the middle is going to be 90 degrees. KNJ, which is this angle right here, is 54 degrees. So we're going to find each angle measure. Now, if you'll notice, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 right triangles. So if this is 90 and this is 18, that's 108. 180 minus 108 is 72 degrees. So that means that this angle is 72 and this angle is 72. Now, if this is 54 degrees right here, plus 90, that's 144 degrees. 180 minus 144 is 36 degrees. So this one will be 36, and this one will be 36. And then if this is 90 and 36, that leaves this one to be 54 as well. So KLN is 54 degrees. LKN, which is this whole angle, 36 plus 36, which is 72. KNM is going to be both of these together, 54 plus 72, which is 126. LJM, so let's find that, LJM, because these two are perpendicular, that's going to be 90 degrees. JKN, okay, here's angle J, JKN, 36 degrees. NMJ will be this side, 18 degrees. JLM, here's J, L, and M, so that's 72 degrees. KLM will be 54 plus 72, which is 126 degrees. Okay, and that's all the angles in our kite. Looking at number 36, we've got CD is equal to 21, so that tells me that ED is also 21. DF, which is going to be this part, is 18. We want to find CE. Okay, now remember, this is a right angle in the middle because your diagonals are perpendicular to each other. So I can find this side by doing a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So if we multiply 18 squared, we're going to get 324. And then if we do 21 squared, we're going to get 441. Okay, oops. Let's subtract 324 from both sides, and we'll get x squared is equal to 117. Now take the square root, and you'll get x is 10.8, which means this is also 10.8. Because C and E are congruent, when you have your diagonals perpendicular, the shorter one will bisect, the longer one will not bisect. So if you're going to find CE, you're going to have to do 2 times 10.8, which will give you 21 6/10. All right, on our last one here, we have another kite. We have these measurements, and we're looking for Z, which is right here. Now, the angles formed by the non-congruent sides are congruent to each other, so W and Y are congruent. So 8x minus 23 is equal to 6x plus 11. Let's subtract that 6x from both sides. Let's add 23 to both sides and divide by 2, and we'll get x is equal to 17. If x is equal to 17, if we do 6 times 17 plus 11, so 6 times 17 is 102, plus 11 is 113 degrees. So that's for W, and that's for Y. Because this is a quadrilateral, we know that it's equal to 360 degrees, the sum of the interior. So let's do 113 plus 46 degrees, and we'll get 272 degrees for these three angles. If you'll subtract your 272 degrees, 360 minus 272, that's going to give you 88 degrees. So the measure of angle Z is 88 degrees.